Welcome back with Cooking with Jess. Today we're going to make sweet potato chickpea coconut curry. That's a lot of words for something that tastes really yummy, but it's not that difficult. There's a few ingredients, but it's really a one pot stew ultimately. And it's going to go by pretty quick. But what I like to pair this with, just to add on to that extra coconutty flavor, I'm a huge fan of coconut, is arroz con coco, at least my version of arroz con coco. Or you can make plain white rice since it has so much flavor in the stew, but option is up to you. What we're going to start with, so I have a Dutch oven here. It is very hot. Um, I use grapeseed oil. That's my go-to. It doesn't have like an aftertaste, so I like to use it. Plus, it has a very high heat point. So I'm just gonna put about a tablespoon in, and what the goal is just to the cover the bottom with oil. That's ultimately what the goal is, right? Can you see that? A little bit of that smoke. So I turn this down to 2 on this machine so that it's not super, super hot. But I went ahead and I already chopped and prepared everything. So I'm just going to start by letting you know what these things are. So this is about a cup of cebollas. So we're going to throw that in. And we're just going to let it saute and sweat just for a little bit. Just a little bit. And while this is happening, I'm going to start to add just a little bit of seasoning. Now, when I say seasoning, specifically, I'm speaking about like powdered. And as you can see, all I have here is sal and then some curry. Everything else is going to be pretty much fresh. So, and I'll be layering in how much salt I use as we go through this and taste. It's all about seasoning to taste. There we go. All right, so we got the sal. And because this is pretty hot, as you can see, all this wonderful steam coming up. We just want to move it around because we don't want it to burn. And it is starting to sweat. Looks nice and moisturized. Okay. So next we're going to add 4 cloves of ajo. I love it. Can't get enough of it. So I'm going to just put that right in there on top of the pot. I'm going to slowly start to creep up to 3 now because I don't want the pot to get too cool since I had it turned on. I had it on high earlier or on 5 earlier. And I brought it down, but after we put in the cebollas in there, the onions in there, I don't want it to get too low because we want to make sure we mix in the cebollas and the ajo together. Most importantly, not burning the ajo because it gets bitter. Has an interesting aroma. We'll use that word. And that's our last one. So get that guy in there. Shout out to the garlic crusher. This makes life easier. And because it makes it so fine and small, it just pretty much it melts into this dish. So you're not getting, again, the chunks. Not a real big fan of chunks. We don't want chunks of onions and garlic and all these wonderful things, but not chunky, right? Not in our stew. All right, so we're good there. And I went ahead and I grabbed something like this, which is one of these silicone, so we can glide along the pot. We don't want to scratch it. We don't want to scratch the Dutch oven. We're going to keep all of the food in the pot. Nobody's jumping out today. Okay. Now, I've already measured. This is a tablespoon of curry. We put that in there, and we're doing that so that it gets all nice and warm and all those, I could smell it, all that aromatic, all those, oh my goodness. It gets to mix in with the ajo and cebolla. We're going to come back and add a half a teaspoon towards the end, but I I always put seasoning in, and I like to add it before I put any water or broth or anything to it, because I want to make sure that the heat kind of opens up those flavors. And that's what's happening over here. So next we're going to put in the sweet potato. So this sweet potato, this was about 3 medium size. I chopped it up into cubes. And we're going to mix all this together. And then I'm going to make a small little space, and we're going to put the jengibre, which is ginger. This is a teaspoon, and this is fresh ginger. So you see that bad boy here? I like to use the fresh one. When it comes to meat and ginger, we have a very special love affair. I like to make ginger tea, and I'm not talking bagged, store-bought ginger tea. No, 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 no. I like fresh ginger. I like it to the point where when you make the tea and you drink it, you're going to feel it right here. You know, when you drink something and it's like, ooh, yes, that's how strong I like my ginger. So we don't play around when it comes to ginger. It is a fun spice for me. So we got that warming up. I have it primarily on the bottom of the pot because, again, I want it to open up. I want it to break down all those components that's in the ginger while we keep stirring. I'm going to go ahead and turn up to 4. As you don't hear as much as the sizzling, so we want to make sure that everything is still cooking. And it's going to take some time for the sweet potato to break down. And I put the sweet potato in before I put the chickpeas in. Here's why. So the sweet potato was just peeled and cubed, right? And the chickpeas, I start from a dried state. So I use my magnificent Instant Pot to get it to the state where it is now. So as you can see, it's nice and look at that, nice, soft. So I don't want it to cook super long in the stew. I know that the sweet potato is going to need a little bit more time because of the fact that it just came out of its natural state. So we're just making sure that everything is coated to get some of the oil, cebolla, the ajo, the jengibre, a little bit of sal, which, like I said, we're going to keep adding and building on to taste, of course. Okay, so at this point, I hear it like it, I don't know if you can hear that it's starting to sizzle just a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and add in our 3 cups of chickpeas. Of course, you can get canned. My preference is to start from a dried state. I did soak these overnight before I put them into the Instant Pot. And I do that because it's a little easier to digest when you soak it overnight. It's a shorter time that it goes into the Instant Pot for. But if you're short on time, you can just, from a dried state, put the chickpeas into the Instant Pot. Okay, so there we go. So everybody's mixed in really nice and looking very festive. You can see these beautiful colors. You see that? The orange, the different colors of orange, or the different types of oranges from the sweet potato and the curry, and then the ginger is picking up a lot of that, as well as the little cebolla bits are picking up a lot of that yellow from the curry. Okay, so we got that in. Now I'm going to let this sit just for a little bit, and we're going to cut up some tomate. So we're going to use 4. This is a pretty big pot, right? I don't like a lot of tomatoes in this, but again, it's all about the colors. Like once this is served, you see this poured over like some nice warm rice. It's the colors, the flavors. It adds just an extra dimension of texture and flavor with the tomatoes. Also, it'll help to thicken up the stew, and you'll see that shortly. But I want to make sure that the tomato goes in fairly last because it's not going to take that long to cook down since it has a high water content. And I'm trying to cut it into bite sizes. So that it's not very pronounced in the dish, as far as like you don't really see it. However, we want to see the color. So the skin is not going to disappear. So we'll have red or bits of red in the dish. I'm cutting out the eye. See that little part there? If you know what that's called, let me know. But the way how I was told growing up, that's called the eye, and we don't put the eye in the dishes that we make. Sometimes I do. But that's what I was taught. So after I cut these up, we're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to hope that I scrape everything successfully into the Dutch oven. I feel confident today. I feel like it's going to happen. We're not going to lose any. We're not going to lose any friends along the way. We're going to get everybody. Oh, we lost a friend already. And I didn't even get to the scraping in the pot part. That's okay. If we need one more, we'll get one more. There was only a slice that fell out, so I'm not really too concerned about that. But it's all about presentation for me in this, as far as the tomatoes are concerned. It does give it a nice little flavor though. But I think for this one, because of the fact that you have that sweetness from the coconut, you have that spiciness from the curry and the ginger. It this is a game changer when it comes to, maybe you don't cook very often, but you serve this and take this to a potluck or have some friends over and introduce this to them. Their eyes will get wide, and they'll be very pleased, as well as their palates and their tummy. Okay, so I think this is pretty good. All right, let's take that deep breath. Okay, there we go. I don't know why I always get so nervous when I do this. I just, it's excitement. It's not nervousness. It's the same kind of energy. It just, you say nervous, it has a negative connotation. I'm not anything but excited, okay? All right, so we mixing that in, and it's starting to stick. I'm starting to see that it's a little brown on the bottom. We don't want that. So we're going to turn down to 3. We're going to put in our coconut milk. Ooh, look kind of cream. Oh my gosh. You know, you can add on top of this, you can add some broth, like some vegetable broth to this. If you want, you can add a different kind of broth. That's you. For me, I do all vegetarian, all vegetable. We're not meat eaters here. So I will just add water because I don't even think we need all that extraness. So I'm going to grab some water and we're going to add that. You hear how I was slowing? Ah, I think we lost somebody. All right, let me slow down my stirring. There we go. Okay. Now at this point, all we're going to do is we're going to add some water. We're going to add some salt, and then we're going to put the top on. So I'm going to grab some water. And then we're going to add a little more. There we go. And I want to cover it. That just sounds amazing. So it is just, I'm not going to turn it too much because I don't want it to spill, but just enough just to cover it. We're going to add we're going to add a half a tablespoon of the, some more curry before we put the top on. You have to salve, so we got to put some more salt. I haven't even tasted it, but I didn't put that much, and I know that it's going to need more. Why, you ask? Because I'm psychic, and I know that. So we're going to let this set. I just want to stir it very gently, so we don't want anybody else leaving the party. Everybody to stay in there. And you know, when all this is done, just to add just a little bit more flair and pizzazz to it, you can add some freshly chopped parsley to it. Sprinkle it on the top. cilantro if you like. And that's it. We're gonna let it sit and bubble. I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit before I put the top on. And I like to use a Dutch oven when I do this because it really just holds that heat in. There we go. That looks so pretty. I think some green in it would look really nice though. I think that's the color that's missing. So definitely some chopped parsley or some chopped cilantro. Sprinkle it on top. And that's it. Just pop the top on. Now, this is probably going to sit for about, let's say 20 minutes on like a medium heat. And what we're really trying to do is to break down the sweet potato. The sweet potato it came in a raw state and we need for it to leave in a cooked state. So that's pretty much what we're trying to cook down, in addition to getting all those flavors to mix and blend and marinate and talk to each other about how their day was. So when it's done, we'll come back and we'll have a taste. I'm excited. Are you excited? I know I'm excited. Let's see what happened in here. Oh, look how this transformed. Look at that. It is a stew now. It is official. It is thick and creamy. So you can see a little bit of the speckle of red from the tomato skin. Let me tell you something. This mix of curry and ginger, like that's the first thing I smell. Oh my goodness. And it's so creamy. Can you see that? Do you see this? All right, we're gonna taste it. But first, I'm gonna just chop up a little bit of cilantro because I feel like it's not complete if I don't see like a little bit of green. I feel like it needs some kind of green. I washed this very quickly. I rinsed it before I put it, before we chopping it up so we can put it on there and savor the flavor. So cutting it up will break down some of all that, get all that flavor to come out of the cilantro. Okay, so I'm just gonna put just a little bit. So I'm gonna put it in the bowl, and yes, it's hot. You see that? You see it? All right, and just a little bit, just because I feel like I don't know, like let's jazz it up. That's gonna add another level of flavor. You see that? Just a little bit. Maybe that's a lot, but it's gonna taste good. I already know. Of course, if you wanna add a little bit of parsley instead of the cilantro, sure. It's up to you. It's your world. But even like the chickpeas have cooked down into the, oh, it's just, I'm just gonna taste. I want to burn my mouth. I haven't had this in so long. Oh my gosh. Listen. Oh, yep, I just got that bite of the cilantro because I just chewed down on it. The ginger is hitting. This is a little spice. So I put in a total of a tablespoon and a half of curry. It was not like a very spicy curry, but it was, it just said curry on it. So it was fairly spicy, like a medium heat. But mixing it with the ginger, that fresh ginger, and the spice from that, and then the sweetness of the sweet potatoes. You have to try this. You have to try this. And also the sweetness from the coconut. It's not like a strong here from the coconut, but it's in there. This is really good. I highly recommend you make this, you try this. As I said before, potluck, you want to You want to take it to a potluck or have family and friends over and just have this as a little wow factor. Yeah, the ginger is still hitting. The spicy from the curry. Yeah. I am a fan. I hope you are too. Sweet pea, coconut. No, sweet pea, chickpea, sweet potato, chickpea, coconut curry. Yeah, that's lit. Enjoy.